Hello, welcome back. Last class we did selection statements. This class will continue with iterative statements. If we want to execute a certain set of statements more than once, then we make use of iterative statements. That is also called as looping. C++ provides three types of iterative statements: while statement, which is also a pre-tested looping structure, do while, a post-tested looping structure, and for, which is a fixed execution looping structure. Now we will study the general syntax and an example code module to understand these better. We will start with while, the general syntax of a while. So we will say while. It is to be noted that while is a keyword and it has to be written in lowercase. Then I will write the condition here and I will write the statements. Or I can say body of the loop here, and then I will close it. This is the general syntax of a while structure, that is while condition is checked and then the statements or the body of the loop and you close it within braces. Then we will write an example code module. For example, I am writing a code module which calculates the sum of first 5 natural numbers, and again it is to be noted I am not writing the entire program, so I will not be writing hash include statements and your main function. I will only write the part of code which calculates the sum. So to begin with, I will say int sum is equal to 0, comma I is equal to 1. Fine. Then while I is less than or equal to 5. Why is it less than or equal to 5? Because I need to calculate the sum of first 5 natural numbers. So I will write the condition I should start from 1 to 5. The range of I is 1 to 5. So inside I will write sum is equal to sum plus I. Then I is equal to I plus 1. Outside I will write cout sum. What happens if I write this statement inside? There is no syntax error over there, but only thing is you will get a partial sum for every iteration. So if you want the final value of sum, you need to write it outside while. So let us trace this now. Sum is equal to 0, I is equal to 1. Then it will go to while. While I is less than or equal to 5, which means that I is 1, 1 is less than or equal to 5. Definitely 1 is less than 5. It will come here. Sum is equal to sum plus I, that is 0. The initial in the first iteration, what is the value of sum here? The initial value of sum is 0, and what is the value of I? I is 1. So sum is equal to 0 plus 1, that is 1. And then the next line is I is equal to I plus 1, which is nothing but I is equal to 1 plus I is equal to 1 plus 1, which is 2. It will go back here and check for the condition. 2 is less than 5. It will come here. Then again sum is equal to, what was the previous value of sum? In the previous iteration, the value of sum was 1. So it will take 1 here. And what is the value of I here? I is 2, which is 3. Then I becomes 2 plus 1, that is 3. It will go back. 3 is less than 5. The same way the loop gets executed, and every time the value of I would be added to the sum value, and once I becomes 6, it exits the loop. Once it exits, it will execute the next statement after the loop, which is cout sum, which will give you the sum of first 5 natural numbers. Please have a look, go through the syntax. Next, we will do do while. Do while is a post tested looping structure. The general syntax of do while would be do. The general syntax of do while is do, then body of the loop and close the braces while condition semicolon. Don't forget to put a semicolon here. This is how a do while looks. Do, body of the loop, while, condition, and it is terminated. So here it is called exit control loop because the condition is checked in the exit, not at the entry level. So we will write the same for sum of first 5 natural numbers using do while. Do, so again int sum is equal to 0, I is equal to 1. Do sum is equal to sum plus I and then I plus plus. I plus plus is nothing but I is equal to I plus 1 while I is less than or equal to 5. See out sum. So if we trace this again, do what it will do, since there is no condition here, it will come here sum is equal to sum plus I, that is 0 plus 1, then I plus plus. So I becomes 2 here, then here it will check for the condition at the exit, that is 2 definitely is less than 5. It will go back, do this and then increment, check. The same way it does once I becomes 6, then it exits the loop and prints the value of sum. So this is how a do while loop works. Now I will write while also here so that you can observe both and tell me the difference between the two, one major difference between the two. While condition and then the statements. For example, the same code module, if I say I is equal to 6 instead of 1, what happens here? Here what it will do? Do sum is equal to sum plus I. What is the value of sum? 0 to begin with. 0 plus what is the value of I here? New value of I is 6. So sum will have the value 6, I becomes 7, then it will come out 7 is definitely not less than 5 or equal to 5. So the condition becomes false and again the loop is not executed, and then it comes out and executes the first statement after the loop and it will print the value of sum. So what is the value of sum? The value of sum is 6. So 6 gets printed here. What happens with while? So while condition, what is the condition? I less than or equal to 5. So 6 is neither less than 5 or equal to 5. So the while loop does not get executed, and once it goes out of the loop, you will be printing the value of sum. So what value does it print here? So what is the initial value of sum? The initial value of sum was 0. So it will print me 0 here. Whereas the same code, it will print me 6 here. The difference is even if the condition is false, then also do while executes at least once, whereas while does not execute even once if the condition is false. Next we will do for loop. For is called a fixed execution loop. So we will write the general syntax of for. How does a for loop look? The general syntax for again is a keyword, so it has to be written in lowercase. For has 3 parts. One is the initialization, condition, increment or decrement, and the body of the loop. And close it. So this is how the for loop works. That is initialization, condition, increment or decrement, and each part is separated by a semicolon. So first, in the first iteration of the for loop, it initializes, checks for the condition, and then if the condition is true, the body gets executed. From the next iteration onwards, it directly goes to the increment or the decrement part, checks for the condition and executes the loop. Now we will write the same code module here also. So it is int sum is equal to 0 for int I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to 5, I plus plus, sum is equal to sum plus I, and cout sum. See, cout sum is written outside the loop, not inside the for. So the initialization, so int I is equal to 1, condition, that is I less than or equal to 5, and increment is I am incrementing the value of I by 1. In the first iteration it goes to the initialization, then the condition, and it comes here. Next iteration onwards it will go directly to the increment or the decrement part, then it checks for the condition and goes inside the body of the loop. So please go through this for a moment. So we studied the while, do while, for, general structure and a code module. Hope you have understood this. Now we will do jump statements. So what is a jump statement? Jump statements unconditionally transfer the program control within a program. That is, if you want to alter the sequence of execution, you use jump statements. And it is to be noted that you don't write any condition with a jump statement. So C++ provides us with 3 different types of jump statements, that is continue, break and go to. So now we will start with continue. Continue, we write it in a loop, and whenever continue is encountered within a loop, the remaining statements in the loop is not executed, that is it is skipped, and the control goes back to the beginning of the loop. The syntax would be, loop can be any kind, loop statements then if I have continue here, then I have certain other set of statements here, and then my loop gets closed here. So in this it can be any loop, like in my loop I have statements, then after certain set of statements I have continue and then remaining statements. Whenever continue is encountered, these statements are not executed, that control goes to the beginning of the loop. So we will write an example and we will see what output it gives. For example, I have int j is equal to 6. Fine. While j is greater than 0. My condition is that while j is greater than 0, if j is double equal to 4, okay, j minus minus cout, sorry, now I will write continue, okay, then I will close it over here. Here cout endl j minus minus, this ends my for loop, while loop. My while loop is from here to here, then in while loop I have this if condition, and then in if I have 2 statements over here, and then the other 2 statements after the continue part. So int j is equal to 6, while j is, we'll write the output here, while j is greater than 0. Definitely 6 is greater than 0, it will come inside if j double equal to 4. So 6 is not equal to 4, so if gets skipped. Then it will come here, cout endl, whenever endl is encountered, new line j. So it will print me 6 j minus minus. When I say j minus minus, j becomes 5, that is, it is decremented by 1. Then 5 definitely is greater than 0, it will come here. 5 is not equal to 4, it will come here and it will print me j, and j becomes 4 here. It will go back, 4 is greater than 0, it will come here. But then again 4 is double equal to 4, it is true. So what is the first line in if? J minus minus. So j becomes 3, and then I have continue. So whenever continue is encountered, remaining statements inside the loop is not executed, the control goes to the header of the loop. So it will go here. What was the value of j? J was 3. 3 is greater than 0, it will come here. If j, that is 3, is not equal to 4, it will come here, it will print the value of j, and then j minus minus. So j becomes 2, 2 is greater than 0, which is not equal to 4, it will come, then it will print me 1. Once j becomes 0, 0 is not greater than 0, so it will stop executing the loop. It will go out of the loop and start executing the first line after the loop. This is how the continue would work. You can have a look. The next is break. Why is break used? Break is a statement which is used in a switch statement to terminate the statement. Like in a switch case, last class we studied switch. If there are multiple values a variable can take, then you have a break with each value comparison, so that the remaining statements need not be checked, and it is used to exit a loop. Whenever break is encountered inside a loop, the control goes to the first line after the loop. Like for example, if I have a loop here, then I have statements, then I have break, then I have statements, then I will close my loop, and then I have the statements after this also. So whenever break is encountered, the control goes to the first line after the loop. This is how break works whenever you are using it in a loop. So we will write one example for that also. Int x is equal to 10 while x less than 20, cout x endl if x is double equal to 13, break, then x plus plus, I will close my statement, cout outside the loop. So here int x is equal to 10 while x is less than 20. So 10 is definitely less than 20. Okay. Then cout, it will come inside the loop, cout x. So what is the value of x? 10. It will print me 10, and it will come here. If x double equal to 13, definitely 10 is not equal to 13. It will go here, x plus plus. So what is the value of x here? The x becomes 10 plus 1, 11. And then 11 is less than 20. So cout x will print me 11 here. Definitely 11 is not equal to 13. So it will come here, it will increment the value of x. X becomes 12. It will check here 12 is definitely less than 20. It will come here, print me the value of x, that is 12. 12 is not equal to 13, and so it will go here. What is the value of x? It becomes 13. It will go here. 13 is definitely not less than 20. Sorry, is definitely less than 20. It will come here. X less than x, see out x. So it will print me 13, and if x double equal to 13, definitely 13 is equal to 13, it will come here and break is there. So whenever break is encountered, it will go to the first line after the loop. So it will print me outside the loop. Fine. This is how break works. You can have a look. Next is go to. So how does go to work? What is go to? The go to statement is a simple statement used to transfer control from one point to another in a program. So how do I do that? Go to, I'll write one example, you can check for that. If 10 modulus 2 is double equal to 0, then I'll say go to label. If 10 modulus 2 is double equal to 0, go to label. This is my if. Then I will write label colon, you have to see the syntax over here. Then I will write cout even, then ended. This. So what happens is, if 10 modulus 2, definitely 10 modulus 2 is 0, go to label. So label is over here, it will come here and it will print me whatever is here. So the output would be even. So this is how go to works. Finished 3 jump statements, that is continue, break and go to. The next are arrays. So what is an array? Array is a homogeneous set of elements under one name which are physically stored next to one another. So that is an array. The different types of arrays are one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array and multi-dimensional arrays. So what is a one-dimensional array? The general syntax is data type and the array name and size is given here. The size is always an integer value, and then data, if it's a two-dimensional array, that is first you need to give the row size and then the column size. So we will study about one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array. For example, the general syntax we saw. General syntax is, what is the data type, array name and the size, and you have to use this brackets only. For example, I want to declare an integer array of 20 size. So I am declaring an ARR, array is the name and the data type is integer, the size is 20. So ARR is an array of 20 integer length, that is it can hold up to 20 integers. This is one. Suppose I have int x is equal to 20. Can I write int ARR of x? Will it allow me? No, it does. It would give me an error because array is static. That is, during compile time only the array size is allocated. That is, that many bytes are allocated depending on the size of the array, and you cannot increase or decrease it during the execution of the program. Since here x is a variable with an initial value 20, so to begin with, the array size would be 20, but as and when the value of x changes, the array size also changes. So the compiler will not allow you to do this. If you can add const int x is equal to 20. When it becomes a constant, that is allowed because constants do not change the value throughout the program. Okay. Then we will write a small code module to read a one-dimensional array. How will I do that? Reading, one more important thing, how do I access the elements of an array? The elements of an array is accessed with the subscript value. Like for example, if I say int ARR of 20, what happens is ARR is here, then memory 2 bytes of each this thing, it will be ARR of 0 to ARR of 19. What is this? 0, 1, 2, 3 are the subscript or the index values with the help of which I can access an element in a array. And 0 to n minus 1 is the size of the array. So 0 to 19 is total of 20 elements. Then how do I read an array? Since you are doing the same operation again and again, that is taking in the values, then you can use it in an iterative loop. You can write it as for I is equal to 0. So why is it 0? The subscript or the index value starts from 0, I less than n, where n is the size of the array I plus plus. So what can I do? C in, okay, C in ARR of I. So C in ARR of I. This is how n is again the value entered by the user. How do I print it? The same way you need to use a cout statement. This is a one-dimensional array. But again, if I want to do the same thing for a two-dimensional array, in a two-dimensional array, the array has the elements have two dimensions. The first is the row number and second is the column number. So first is row, second is always a column. For example, if I have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, the number of elements is this and the name of the array is ARR. So what is the position of each element here? ARR of, this is what? 0th row and 0th column. 0th row and 0th column. What is this? ARR 0th row and first column. Then this is ARR of first row and 0th column. This is ARR of first row and first column. This is how the position of the elements would be in case of a two-dimensional array. Then we'll study about strings, character arrays. So what is a character array? If you want to store more than one character, it becomes a string. In C++, string is declared as a character array. So how do I do that? Char, for example, your name of size. So it will take where it will create a character array name of maximum 20 characters length. Then how do I read and write strings? It can be read using cin. Then it can be used by it can be read by using cin.get. You can read it using cin.getLine. So what is the limitation of cin? Cin, it will read the string until a space is encountered. For example, the string is computer science, then with Cin it will only read till computer, because there is a space between computer and science, the science will not be read. If you want to read the entire line along with the spaces, then you have to use Cin.getLine function. So how it is? What is the general syntax? Cin.getLine, then the identifier name, then size. So here it would be Cin, if you want to read name, the dot get line, then name is the identifier, size is 20. This is how you read a string using Cin.getLine. Cin will read only till the space is encountered. Get, what is get function? Cin.get and then ch. It will read only character by character. So if you are reading character by character, you need to read it till a new line is encountered in the keyboard. So these are strings. So how this is how to read a string. Now we will do the functions used for writing a string using cout. You can write a string out using cout, it will write the entire string. You can also use put function, again it is using character by character, and then either put or you can write using write function. So what is the syntax of write? Cout dot write identifier comma size. So this is character by character. This is write is this one entire identifier comma size, and cout, using cout you can directly write a string. So this is about strings. Next we have functions. So what is a function? A function is a code module or subprogram or a subroutine which performs a particular task, and in C++ all modules are referred to as functions. There are two types of functions. One is built-in function or library function. The other one is user defined functions. So again, user defined functions are of 5 types. One is without return, without arguments. The second one is with return, without arguments. Third one is without return, with arguments. Fourth one is with return, with arguments. And the last one is recursive functions. All these types I think you would have done in your 11th grade. Now we will study about built-in or library functions. The functions which are available already, that is, it is available in the compiler. The C++ developers already provide that. Only thing is you need to call it and use it. So such kind of functions are called library functions. So you need to include the corresponding header file in order to use that function. Some of the header files are math.h. So how do you include this? You include in hash include math.h will include this header file, and some of the built-in functions which is available here are power, POW, one is x, base and exponent power. The other one is square root, SQRT of x, log of x, ceil, floor, cos, sine, tan. All these are some of the examples of built-in functions which is available in mat.h header file. The other one is ctype.h header file, wherein it works for on a single character. It is to be noted that single character is different than a string. So if you work on strings, then you need to include string.h header file. When I say ctype.h header file, it works only on a single character. Some of the functions here, the examples are is upper x, is lower x, 2 upper, 2 lower, is alpha, is digit, is alnum. All these are some of the examples of ctype.h header file built-in functions. The next is iostream.h. What are those? Can you tell me? So some examples of this are, they are basically used for reading and writing. So I can say get line, put, read, write, open, close, end of file. These are some of the examples of iostream.h header functions in iostream.h header file. You can have a look. The next is user defined functions. As the name suggests, user defined functions are the functions written by the user. Whether it's a built-in function or a user defined function, every function should have a function prototype or a declaration. So in user defined functions, the user himself will write the function declaration, and then he will also write the function definition. Function declaration or prototype, and then you have function definition, which will have function header and function body. So a user defined function is a complete and independent user created program unit which can be used or invoked. See, whenever you invoke or call a function, then only it gets executed by other functions or in an application or a program. It is not compulsory that you need to call it in main. You can call it in any other function also. The advantages of user defined functions are modular programming, because functions are nothing but modules, and then independent subcode modules which is written to perform a particular task. Reusability is you can reuse it again and again. You need not write it that many number of times. So the lines size of the program reduces and the efficiency increases, and you will not be wasting time writing the same thing again and again. Write once, use many times. The general structure of a user defined function, like the general structure is return type, function name, and the argument list. This is the function prototype or the function header. Then what is this? Function definition will have two parts. One is the function header, the other is the function body. These are the two parts of a function definition. This is nothing but the function prototype or the function declaration. I'll show you an example. What is a function call, what is an argument list, and how are the arguments passed to the function, and what is function declaration, what is function definition. So we'll start. Hash include iostream.h. conio.h. So let me have a function, like I will have a function sum int, okay, that is my function sum int comma int. This is a function prototype. That is, it states that this is a general syntax of a function also. The name of a function, the return type of a function, and the argument list. This is how the function should be. This is called function declaration of function prototype, which states that I am going to have a user defined function by name sum, to which I am passing arguments, two arguments of type integer, and it is going to return an integer value. It is to be noted that since C++ follows bottom up approach, whether you write the function definition before or after main, the declaration should be before main, otherwise it will not, it will give you error. So before main, at least the function declaration should be there. Then I will write my main program. Okay, then I will say clear screen. Again, clear screen is a built-in function which clears the output screen after each execution, like whenever it is encountered here, and it is in conivo.h header file. Then I will say int x comma y, cout, enter two numbers, endl. So cin x comma x and y. What is this called? This is called cascading of input operator. That is, you are taking more than one value in single cin statement. It is called cascading of an input operator. Then I am taking it here. Then I will say cout sum of x, sum of x and y is equal to, let me call the function sum x comma y, get ch. This completes my main. So I have my function prototype, I have my main. Since I need to pass two integer values, I am declaring two integer values x and y and asking the user to enter the two numbers, and I am taking those two in x, the first number entered into x, the second number entered into y. Then I am printing the sum of is in double quotes, and then I will write x. So whatever is the value of x will be printed as it is, and then end will be appended after that. Y is again the value, whatever is of y is printed here, then equal to as it is, and this is the function call. I am calling the function. So whatever is returned, since this function returns an integer value, whatever is returned by the function would be printed here and get ch. So now I have finished declaration or prototype, I finished the main. Now I will write my function definition. Definition again will have two parts. One is the function header and one is the function body. So I will say return type is int. Then name of the function is sum. So I will say int a comma int b. So what are a and b? A and b are called formal parameters. That is, the parameters are the arguments in the function header are called formal parameters. And then what are x and y? X and y are called actual parameters. That is, the one which is passed are called actual parameters. The one in the function header is called formal parameters. This is the function header. Then I will write return. I am going to return a value, and what is that value? It is of type integer a plus b. So it will calculate the value of a plus b and it would be returned to this place and it would be printed. And it is not, it has to be noted here that it is not compulsory that the name should match. That is, the name of the actual and the formal parameters need not match, but the data type, the order and the number should match. That has to be noted. So a and b and x and y. So where is the value of x gets substituted in a, whatever is the value of y gets substituted in b. The only condition is I need to pass two parameters. Yes, I am passing two, a and b, and then both of them have to be of integer type. I am passing two integer values and it is going to return a plus b. So it will calculate a plus b, and whatever is that single value is returned at the place of the function call. So here it will be, this is called the calling function, this is called the called function, and this is the calling function. So hope you have understood this. Please go through this. Then the different types of functions are with return, without return, without arguments. So it will be a, whenever it will be a void function. Void means the function does not return any value. So it will be void function name, and it will be blank because I am not passing any arguments to it. So no arguments, no return. So no return with arguments means void function name and the argument list. Next is with return without arguments. So you have to say return type function name and argument without return, without argument. So it will be blank. The last program what we wrote was with return with arguments, because I was returning an integer value and I was passing two integer values to it. Next is with return with arguments. Next is recursive. Recursive functions are the function which calls itself directly or indirectly. The thing is, recursive functions, in recursive function the function call is there in the function itself. So again the recursive functions will have two cases. One is the base case, the one is the recursive case. In the recursive case you will write the function call, in the base case you will have the exit condition. Otherwise if this is not written properly it goes to an infinite loop. So this is about functions. Next is structures. So what is a structure? A structure is a heterogeneous group of variables. It is noted, it has to be noted that a structure has only variables, it will not have functions in that, whereas a class is a collection of data members and member functions, whereas structures has only data members but it can be of any data type, wherein an array is a homogeneous collection of elements. A structure is a heterogeneous group of variables placed under a common name. So struct is the keyword which declares a structure, and then you are going to give a structure name, and you can give any user defined name, and the rules which has to be followed are similar to what you follow for an identifier. Then you have the data type member1 semicolon. It is not comma here, it is semicolon. Like that you need to specify all the data members along with their data type, and then enclose, and it has to be terminated with a semicolon. Then this is how you create a structure variable. Struct, structure name, and then the structure variable name semicolon. Using the structure variable along with the dot operator, you can access the members of a structure. I will show this with an example. And this is very important because you will be using this in data structures when you are studying linked lists. So, we will take an example here. What does the example state? See, this example, in this example, I have a structure. Name of the structure is info. Struct is the keyword which states that it is a structure. Again, since it's a keyword, it has to be written in lowercase only. Then the members, how many members does it have? It has two members. One is of integer type, another one is a character array, that is a string. So, first one is the roll number, second one is the name, which can hold maximum up to 30 characters length, and I am closing my structure here. So, and structures can be a part of a function, can be a part of a class, or it can be standalone. Here it's a standalone structure. So, char name, and these are the two members of the structure info. Then I have void main. In that, this is how I create a structure variable. Struct info is the name of the structure, and std is the structure variable. So, what am I after that? I am asking the user to enter the details such as registration number and name. So, with cin, I have to first use the structure variable dot operator and then the member of the structure. So, what I am going to do is std dot regnvo. I am not doing cascading here because both are of different data types. So, std dot registration number, cin std dot name. Then cout endl, the student details will be printed as it is on the screen with a new line by inserting a line. Cout registration number will be printed as it is. \t is nothing but an escape sequence for tab spaces. Then again I need to use the structure variable to access the member of the structure. So, while using cin cout, you need to use the structure variable dot the structure member. It will print the registration number and the name entered by the user. So, can you tell me how much memory space would be allocated for this structure? So, the memory allocated would be, you need to individually calculate the memory allocated for each member of the structure and you need to add it up. So, here integer is 2 bytes and character name is like each character is 1 byte, and how many character length it is? 30. So, 30 plus 2. So, 32 bytes would be allocated for this structure. So, we understood what it means, but then suppose this happens only for one record. I have around 50 students and I need to store the details of all those 50. Then how am I going to do that? I am going to create an array of structures. How will I do that? By struct info okay. So, I will say int registration number char name of 30 characters length. Okay, this is end of my structure. Void main. Then what do I need to do? I have to struct, create a structure variable. So, what is that? Struct info std. Okay. So, here I am going to create for 50 students. Fine. So I can then see out, enter student details. Then what will I do? For int I is equal to 0, I less than 30. Let me say I am taking all the all the 50 students. So I will write 50 here, or you can ask the user to enter the number of students you want to take, and then you can write that n value here. Here I am assuming that I will be taking for all the 50 students. So I will write it's less than 50, I plus plus. Then the body of the for I will write cin dot cin std of I dot registration number cin std I of dot name. So the same way you write the output also. With that, first is the 0th student, next is the first, like that 0 to 49 would form 50 students. So that is how it will happen, and for each student 32 bytes of memory would be allocated. So this is called array of structures. You can have a look. Next is the homework question. Homework question: write a program to calculate compound interest write a program to calculate compound interest with, or I can say using function with return and with arguments concepts. So write a program to calculate compound interest using function with return and with argument concept. Hope you have understood the class. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.